14C. Paisley. No time was wasted upon arriving at the tutelage. Each student was sent to their quarters to unpack and meet Jera in the temple within the hour. The room was barren except for the note on the bed. Congratulations on making it into the tutelage. Few are able to do so, and even fewer make it to the end. I hope you will come to find this place your home, as I did these last 5 years. Mind Jera, trust in your peers, and have faith in the gods. These will be the keys to your success. Good luck, Hasser, Solar graduate. I tucked the note away with my belongings and made my way toward the temple. I arrived to find my peers discussing similar notes left behind for them, and determined it must be a graduation custom. While we waited, I took note of the room. The temple was built in a circular fashion, with statues of the 6 gods spaced evenly around the perimeter. Cushions were placed on the floor before each statue, and a large cushion was at the center of the room, beneath a statue of Sator, which hung from the ceiling. It was not long before Jera walked in and began to address us. "Good evening, students," Jera began. "I won't take up much time, as I am sure you are all weary from your trips and wish to sleep. Tomorrow starts your first day at Sator tutelage. I trust you all received letters from the graduating class before you. The letters are a tradition to inspire hope and carry forth what your previous alumni found to be the most important information to pass on to the next generation. Heed these words, whatever they may be. Now, as to why we are here. Every day, each of you will commune with your elemental or celestial god or goddess. You may do this in a manner of your choice, via prayer, offering, meditation, song. It is up to you. Whether you choose to do this in the morning, midday, or evening is entirely up to you. But tonight, and every day thereafter, it is required. Please find your patron god's shrine and take a seat in front of it." The 6 of us fanned out in a circle around the room and seated ourselves before the statues. I found myself in front of a statue of a man in full body armor, with a presence about him of importance. His eyes could see right to the soul to determine one's worth. I felt uneasy below his gaze as I sat before his statue. "This may be the first time some of you have come to learn of your patron god, and that is fine," Jera stated. "Tonight, I will offer up a prayer for us all. After tonight, you must find your own way. Let us begin. We come before you this evening to honor the gods and ask for your blessings. We honor the gods of the elements, Solemn of Terra, Procella of Air, Ustrina of Ignis, and Lacus of Aqua. We honor the gods of the celestial bodies, Tinnitus of Solar and Tenebra of Lunar. We honor Sator, god of all creation. We thank you for the powers bestowed upon us as we continue to be blessed with these powers, that we may do your bidding for the welfare of Aether. Sator be praised," Jera finished. Jera motioned all to rise and join her back at the center. "I hope you all find a deep connection with your God and honor them well. Off to bed with you all. We start at the schoolhouse at dawn." I turned back to the statue of Tinnitus and his discerning eyes. I'd never put much stock in prayer or connecting with the gods before, but as I stood there before his statue, I felt a need to prove myself and a sense of humility. It pushed a desire within me to honor him. We shuffled out of the temple and toward our chambers, ready to start training in the morning. A loud gonging noise cut through the early morning just before dawn, signaling the time to rise. I made my way to the ladies' washroom and found 3 tubs of warm water waiting, separated by rolling curtains. Arva and Aubrey followed closely behind. We made awkward reintroductions as we looked around the open bathing chamber. It was clear that none of us were accustomed to changing and bathing in a common area, but each chose a section and began to make ready for class. This time of the year, I would expect the bathing rooms to be cold and drafty, but the changing weather phenomenon made the fall mornings quite bearable. We finished our morning routines and headed to the schoolhouse straight away. Sinis, Kale, and Knox were already waiting as we entered. I sat down at a nearby table and waited for Jared to arrive. Arva took to the group easily, striking up a conversation with Sinis as she unloaded her pack carelessly at his table. I could feel the courage of the room start to rise as the two talked, making it easier for the rest of us to begin chiming in on conversations. Soon, all but Nux had begun engaging with one another. When Jera arrived, shortly thereafter, the room fell silent and all students promptly took their seats. "Good morning, children," Jera began. "As you know, I am Jera Kincaid. I will be your Magus instructor for the next 5 years. I have been charged with running Sator tutelage for the past 40 years. Prior to that, it was run by alumni such as myself. Not only will you be getting exclusive Magus schooling and training, but one day, one of you may be the next Magus instructor in charge. Before we start, I would like to organize you by your Magus properties. Arva and Sinis, you will be sitting here at the front table. Kale and Aubrey, you will be situated at the center table. Lastly, Paisley and Knox will be at the back table. The pupil sitting next to you wields opposite magic to your own, aqua to Ignis, air to Terra, and lastly, solar to lunar. Training against your polar opposite will help you to gain strength quicker. It will be difficult, however, it will also be rewarding. If you have not already made introductions, there will be time during our break to do so. Now let me give you a brief history of Aether. Once, a very long time ago, before our sun was reborn, there was only one God, and so named, he ruled over this planet and all we know. Back then, our planet was known as Earth, and it is written that God created all creatures and all things. The people, called humans, were a very intelligent race that followed the ways of science. There were no Magus in those days, because God refused to share his powers and condemned those who sought them out. And so, little by little, the humans grew into a people of technology, never understanding the elements, never relying on God, and finally forgetting him entirely. The land suffered greatly, polluted and devoid of resources. The humans changed slowly from intelligent beings into dark creatures called Gragan, who lived by fear and fed on one another until all but a handful remained across the planet. Seeing how his actions had lost him his treasured creations, God succumbed to change. The 2 remaining Gragan were removed from the earth and sent away to a place that is without substance and without time. Then he gathered all his powers about him and sped up the sun's life until it exploded, taking everything around with it, including Earth. The cosmos were rebuilt from the ashes left behind to create a new world, Aether. He deemed this his new heaven and would devise a way to share his powers and maintain control. He took a new name, Sator, and divided himself into 2 lesser beings, the Celestials, gatekeepers of the ancient powers, charged with watching over Aether and protecting it, even from Sator himself. For only in his uni state did Sator have the power of creation and destruction, able to demolish and remake the universe if he chose. Tinidus, the solar god, commands power over the elements of fire and earth, while Tenebra, the lunar goddess, controls water and air. Tinidus and Tenebra further split themselves into 2 gods each, the elementals, sent to Aether to control balance of the fundamental elements. Lacus, the ever-temperamental aqua god, controls water. Ustrina, the feisty Ignis goddess, controls fire. Solemn, the serene Terra god, controls earth, and Procella, the swift air goddess, controls air. And so the elementals remained here on Aether, merging back into celestials when it pleased them. When all preparations were complete, the gods mated with the Athenians, passing along their powers. This was the period known as the birthing, and how we Magus came to be, our powers manifesting in those of us that the gods deem worthy, while the mortalis are those who do not possess any Magus abilities. Any questions so far? Jera asked. Arva's hand shot up eagerly. Go ahead, child. So if the elemental gods merge into the celestial gods, and the celestial gods merge into Sator, does that mean that all of the gods cannot be present at one time? Arva asked. This is correct, child, Jera responded. The gods cannot all be in the physical forms at one time, though their celestial spirits are sent back to the celestial plane when merged, to maintain the magical levels throughout Aether. Arva's hand shot back into the air, and Jera nodded recognition. Is this why we have been having weather problems this past year? Arva inquired. You are quite perceptive, Arva. It has been known for some time that Tenebra, lunar goddess, has fled into hiding, causing massive changes in Aether's elemental structure. Lunar, aqua, and air magus would feel the sting of this in their powers. All right, everyone will be studying their patron gods this morning until break. Then compose a short history with a focus on lore, location, and summoning to be turned in. It is vital that each of you are able to manifest a connection with your respective gods before we learn to manifest their powers fully. Tomes are on the shelves around you. Please get to work, Jera finished. I hope that each of you has learned enough about your patron gods for this evening's devotion, Jera stated, as the last of the parchment was handed in to her. Oh, and there is one more matter I need to bring before you. Before I release you for your afternoon meals, Tinnitus, Lord of the Stars, has bequeathed upon you a quest of the highest importance. It goes without saying that a quest from the gods is paramount. Alongside your tutelage and training, your regimen will also include historical lore and summoning training to complete this quest. Each of you will be required to seek out and summon your patron god, challenge them for their godly essence, and offer up these essences to Sator. Without these godly essences, Sator will likely demolish Aether before we live to see the end of our days. Okay then, Jera announced as she waved away the world-shattering proclamation. Enjoy your lunches.